I'd like to make a few comments.
Very few, very few.
In the year 1962, I celebrated my first birthday. And that same year, Henry Tweten started his first term on the East Grand Forks City Council. Henry was born December 21, 1923. He will turn 95 years young this Friday. He graduated from high school in East Grand Forks in 1941. He served in World War II with General George S. Patton's Third Army, most of the time as an infantry platoon leader. He was shot through the kneecap in a battle behind enemy lines as his platoon fought to take the German town of Obergeckler. They held the town for 2 days under intense enemy fire. And Henry fought for his life the days before advanced medical care and proper antibiotics to take care of such wounds. It took months, actually, for him to get fully well. Henry returned to the U.S. as a first lieutenant with a Purple Heart and a Silver Star Medal for gallantry. Henry finished law school in 1951 and practiced law for 68 years. Safe to say Henry is old school. And that's not all bad. He's motivated by a fierce love for God, country, and family. He said to me on more than one occasion, if you will serve God and serve people, you won't be far off the mark. Out of the blue, he has said that, again, more than once, from the heart. Henry did lose his way, though, in the late 1940s and early 50s when he took several different roles inside the State Democratic Party. Just kidding. Henry was involved in several successful statewide elections, supporting candidates of various folks all through those period of years. And, of course, the connections that he has still in St. Paul serve our community beautifully as we go back to St. Paul for the needs of our community as it pertains to the state of Minnesota. In his first 6 years as East Grand Forks Council member, from 62 to 67, he was involved in building the new City Hall, the fire station, swimming pool, the water treatment plant, the Point Bridge, planning for a new arena. Henry knows how to get things done. In his most recent 18-year run on the council, he's gone from flood recovery to reconstruction to setting the course for the future. Henry's been involved every step of the way. You'll not find a more optimistic person on the planet for East Grand Forks than Henry Tweten. Henry is the master of rhetoric. I always thought rhetoric was combining big words in ways that mean little or nothing. But I have found, in fact, rhetoric can also confuse the listener, which Henry uses to his advantage. And I do intend to really develop then that skill of rhetoric myself. Now that you're gone, I'm going to work on developing my rhetoric. Now, Henry promises to stay involved in our community as long as God gives him the strength. And Henry, I plan to hold you to that. Henry, thank you for your service in so many ways over so many years. What would you like to say, sir?
Thank you. I've been involved since the summer of 1953 when I took and headed up a group of people to get our first new grade school. It was controversial in a lot of respects, but the people in the North End were determined to get the school done, and we got it done. We went further. We took and organized, so we got Dr. Domian from the University of Minnesota to lay out a master plan for the city of East Grand Forks for complete development of a coordinated school system. At the time that we were pushing for the grade school, we met opposition. I was called a communist and a socialist and everything else, and there were people there that were very, very unreal. But we kept pursuing it. That created, being involved in that instance, created my interest in AVTIs. In Curtisburg, the owner of the Ford Agency of Automobiles, we asked the superintendent of schools to make an application for an AVTI. he told us he was too busy with consolidation. And I told him that's coming, so you don't have to spend your time on that. Well, he maintained his position. We thought it was important. Mr. Berg had taught out in Botno. He was a Navy veteran, and we were strong believers in education. So anyway, what we did, we had write-in against his school board members. We kicked some people who have been on the school board for as high as 32 years. And we kicked a couple off. There were 6 school board members. We went and told them that, I said, well, you got to make an application. They were giving them away like candy at that time. And he wouldn't do it, so I just let him know that I was going to run against 2 more school board members, and he would have been going with a knapsack down the highway or the railroad tracks because he wouldn't have a job. He understood that language, and that's a little bit of localized politics. Even Republicans sometimes act like that. But anyway, we got the ABTI going. And but the way we got it going was that I was a good friend of Governor Wendy Anderson. In 1970, we carried the state. And the Board of Education was in charge of ABTIs at that time. And anyway, what happened was that we had a assistant commissioner of vocational education tried to kill it. And he took and went to Grand Forks and tried to get the superintendent there, who originally was from Owatonna, to build a school over there. Well, anyway, as the things changed, we got to school. I did legal work for the school district, and we picked up 100 acres up on 220. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, we had this one person that didn't want to, Bob Van Trees, didn't want to educate North Dakota students. There wasn't any reciprocity at the time. But Moorhead filled that position, they had it. But anyway, we eventually got to school, and the way we got it to got the second edition was that one of my friends was from Mankato, one was from St. Cloud. And Van Trees would not take and put East Grand Forks on the bonding list. He had 3 others. So I had Roger Moe, Senator Roger Moe, make a phone call to the commissioner about taking and getting on bonding so we could get the building completed. And Rudy Perpich was governor, had him make a call to Roger Moe and to Perpich, and so we had them both. So anyway, this Bob Van Trees had on a chalkboard 3 bondings, and East Grand Forks wasn't one of them. So I had Perpich and Roger Moe call and tell Commissioner that there be no bonding unless East Grand Forks was first, Mankato was second, and St. Cloud was third. So we doubled the size of the school, which it had to be. If we would have stayed with 50% of a school, it wouldn't have a big enough variety of programs. But what happened now, the next thing, we had Judy Nepple working for the AVTI. She was a surgical nurse and working over the hospital in Grand Forks. She brought in a multitude of new programs, medical programs. And then we originally just had a carpenter program. We had welding and a few other courses. But the flood come along, and Judy Nepple's husband took and added 4 more programs in the building trades. Now, we got that. He had a brother in Denver that knew somebody from General Electric. He got $75,000 from them. We then got all of the courses we have now. And frankly, the school is rated as 5th best in the United States. I think it's higher than that. But there's one thing that has happened. We've been very fortunate with the present administrator, President Dennis Bono. He knows how to count. He encourages everybody. And what he's done, he has been successful in having 82 to 83% of all students who go to school and high school in East Grand Forks have attended and had at least one class from there. Yeah, I'll be done in a minute. But anyway, what's happened is that last year he had an increase of 6% of 30 and 40-year-olds. This year, next semester, he's got 2% increase. If every AVTI tech school in the state of Minnesota would do as much as he has to educate all of these people, the state would be floating on a cloud. But I told him, I said, the only thing we want you to do is stay here till you're an old man. I think he likes it up here, and I think he likes to go fishing and so forth, and he likes what he's doing. So I think we're going to have him around a long time, and we're all going to be much better because of it. Okay.
Sir, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
This, it says, City of East Grand Forks, presented with our respect and appreciation to Henry Tweten for the time and effort over many years dedicated to improving the quality of life in our community and for being an example of always looking forward into the future, January 2002 to December 2018. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proud of you, brother.